Welcome back into another preview of the upcoming basketball season as we look now to the Wapsie Valley boys. Yes, the Wapsie Valley girls video went up earlier today, and of course Janesville, Denver, and Waverly Shellrock have all had their boys and girls videos go up as well. If you've missed any of those, you can find them on my Twitter page. Find me at Taylor from Kway, that's Taylor from Kway. You can find me on YouTube as well, but maybe the easiest way to find it would be on my Twitter page to find those other ones. But let's look at Wapsie Valley on the boys' side. Of course, a whole lot of history for Wapsie Valley on the boys' side. And they are coming off a 17-7 season. Last year, it ended with a loss to Edco in postseason play. 69-57 was the final in that one. And if you did see the girls' video before, we talked about how turnovers were a huge issue for Wapsie Valley last year. Not nearly the issue for the boys. In fact, the ratio probably is pretty decent. They had 299 assists on the year, 346 turnovers. That's not the worst that you're going to see. Yes, you'd like to cut down on the turnovers. You'd like to have the assists more than the turnovers, but it's really not too terrible. And the reason especially that I think it's not that terrible is you had underclassmen, a lot of underclassmen handling the ball from time to time at the very least last year. And I think just the experience is going to help them this year. In fact, you could probably, I'm just guessing here, I haven't gone back to see, but I'm guessing especially those younger players probably made more turnovers at the start of the season last year, got experience, got better, and by the end of the season, we're turning it over far less. That would be my guess. But this Wapsie Valley team, of course, headed up by Marty McCowan, fantastic coach, the AD over there at Wapsie as well. So great leadership there. Again, I've talked about this with the teams, with some of the other teams. When you've got a coach like Marty, for instance, you've got to feel happy, or you got to feel confident going into just about every contest you enter into. And this is a team in Wapsie Valley who loses a lot. They do indeed lose a lot off that team last year. You think about Kirk Drew. Really like Kirk Drew. I didn't have a whole lot of interactions with Kirk Drew, but from what I could see, he seemed like maybe a little bit of a quieter type of guy, but just sort of led with his actions. And in just about every sport, he was outstanding. He averaged 10.1 points a game last year for Wapsie Valley. He also averaged just under 5 rebounds a game, which was second on the team. The scoring was second on the team as well. And he also, dished out 41 assists last year, so he could handle the ball, he could pass it, and he could shoot the three-pointer as well. He shot 33% from beyond the arc. You also lose Carson Kearns, a guy that did a lot of the dirty work. He would set screens. He could hit jump shots. There's no doubt about it. A lot of times he was taking on guys that were much bigger than him down in the post when he'd get caught down in the post there. But he's just a ferocious competitor. And he would do the dirty things, as I mentioned. Not dirty things, but he would do the dirty jobs, maybe I should say. It did them quite well for Wapsie, and so he has graduated on. Cam O'Donnell, outstanding shooter, gave them some size as well. Really liked Cam. Of course, worked through some injury troubles during his career. He averaged 8.8 points a game last year. He's gone on as well. And Jake Kuhlman, a really good defender, a great athlete, a guy you could stick on the opposing player's best score and expect him to be slowed at the very least. And then Austin Wittenberg, also lose him. A guy that could come in, could shoot it a little bit as well, and could at the very least give you some minutes. A couple other seniors they'll miss as well. So a fairly inexperienced team a little bit. I will say that a number of the guys that will be back this year did see time last year and saw some fairly significant time. So there is some experience coming back, there's no doubt, but they will be a little bit young. And that's certainly a question mark and certainly something to keep an eye on and keep an ear out for as well. Now, as far as players returning this year, Paul Rundquist, he's coming back, of course, and Paul is one of my favorite players to watch. A bona fide scorer, and when he gets going, look out. You know, I had the opportunity to call his 50-point game against Sumner Fredericksburg a couple of years ago, and, you know, you could just see it. He was clicked in, and I love watching athletes when they get in that type of zone, and not every athlete can get in that type of zone. It was fun to watch, and in every time I've seen him since, yes, he has not gone off like that, but he's been a joy to watch, and I would expect him to put up some pretty big numbers this year. He averaged 21.1 points a game last year. Don't be shocked if that number goes up this year. I think I think the offense, not that it wasn't built to get him shots before, I think it will be maybe even more this year. We'll see. Now, there's another outstanding guard on the team, and his name's Kobe Reese, now a sophomore, and he's a heck of a player. He averaged 7.1 points a game. I know in his varsity debut, a game that I got to call, he was in double figures, and what I really, really liked about that was he got into double figures mostly based on his ability to get to the free throw line. Those are free points if you can get to the free throw line and consistently knock down shots. So if you can do that, if you can get to the line and then hit those shots, I mean, that's big time. And it's normally something you see from veterans, but Kobe as a freshman last year was able to do that. And in fact, he shot 69% from the free throw line, which really is not bad. He was second on the team in free throws attempted, only to Paul Runquist. We've got two guards who know how to get to the free throw line. That is absolutely ideal. Kobe had 71 assists last year compared to 56 turnovers for a freshman. That's fantastic. I think those numbers will separate even more this year. And Paul, he turned it over a little bit more. He had the ball in his hands a little bit more. I think his turnover numbers probably go down in his senior season as well. Now, the thing is, for Wapsie Valley, those are the names that are coming back. Now, again, there are some teams that we've previewed thus far, and they've not had much coming back, and I've been a little worried for them. I'm just not with this Wapsie team. They've got now junior Kix Rosengarten, which will give them some size down in the paint. I think he takes that next step up, and I think Wapsie having some size down there is huge. I've heard rumblings that there's a little bit more size that's going to be thrown in there from time to time as well. That'll be interesting to see. I'm certainly looking forward to that. Another name to remember is Blade Bellis, and he saw some time last year as a freshman as well. Not real big, but if you watched Wapsie Valley football at any point this past fall, you know that he is an athlete. And, you know, he averaged, 1.4 points per game last year. I think he's going to be a big-time contributor. And probably, I don't know what Marty's thinking, but you could very easily go with a three-guard set with Blade Bellis, Kobe Reese, and Paul Runquist. And, there's not going to be a ton of teams. Yes, there's going to be some teams that match up size-wise. In fact, there'll be plenty of teams that probably will be taller at all three of those positions. But all three of those guys move really, really well. They know how to get themselves open. They can handle the ball as well, and that's important. And I think that's going to be a key for Wapsie Valley coming up this season as well. And we'll see. We'll see if there's a couple other guys that can step up and introduce themselves to those around the area as well. And I just have to go back to history a little bit with Wapsie Valley. They've just got that history of being able to develop guys and get them going and get them ready for varsity play. And once they get into varsity games, have success. And so I think Wapsie Valley, yes, they did lose quite a bit from last year. I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll have another solid season. They again will be led from the backcourt, which is kind of awesome in high school basketball because backcourts win ball games in high school basketball. Yes, if you have a giant of a guy down low, he can be absolutely dominant. But really, more often than not, it's the guard play that determines who's coming out on top in a lot of games. And the backcourt for Wapsie Valley, I think, is going to be very, very good. Now, rebounding, they sort of spread the wealth. They counted on 6, 7 guys all getting similar amounts of rebounds last year to do the work. I think they'll probably do something similar. Carson Kearns did lead the team with 5 rebounds a game last year. I think my guess is if Kicks plays consistently, he would be the guy that would lead them in rebounding. If he can get up towards 7 or 8 rebounds, even if he's not scoring a ton, that would be extremely useful to Wapsie Valley. It would make them very, very dangerous if he can own the glass a little bit. So that's what I'm expecting out of this Wapsie Valley team. Getting to my rating system, again, a 1 would mean I think they're a title contender. A 2 would mean that they are a state tournament contender. A 3 would mean a team that's looking to just stay above 500, maybe get to the postseason, see if they can get a good draw and make a bit of a run. And a 4 would be a team that's rebuilding this year. And this Wapsie Valley team, they're a 2. I've given them a 2. But they're not the most sure 2 that you'll see. They're not a bona fide should expect to get to the state tournament. They're more, at this juncture, a team that I expect to get somewhere close to the state tournament and maybe run into a team that's got good guard play and maybe a little bit more size and is, well drilled enough to knock off a team like Wapsie Valley. So that's where I've got them now. That doesn't mean that partway through the season they all have shown that they've really got things clicking and they are indeed a state tournament contender. But I think there are 2. And I think that's a good spot for them. And as always, teams are going to have to look out for Wapsie Valley on their night. They're going to be able to put up a ton of points. Should be a lot of fun to watch them. Now that's going to do it for me here for Wapsie Valley, the preview of the boys side of things. We'll be back tomorrow with a couple more videos, so stick around for that. And until then, my name's Taylor Nitz. Okay, bye.